Good morning. I hope you've had a wonderful week and having a great start to your day. Have you noticed how there are a million avenues, so many books, so many articles, so many experts, so many surgeries, so many types of clothes that support weight loss or the illusion of weight loss? But there's not a whole lot out there that talks about healthy maintenance or the sustainability of it. And I think we're getting better in terms of the resources and the things out there. But I personally find it really challenging. And I have had a life of, it's not quite yo-yo because I haven't gone up and down so many times, but I have had these very huge swings of going very up and then very down. And then in the process of going down, there's a boomerang effect. And I always go up higher. And I know that I'm not the only one that experiences this, but I've realized recently it usually has something to do with the shoulds and the have tos and the lists and the musts and the places where in following that path to achieve some goal, one, the goal is the journey. It becomes that journey. Is like, once I get there, everything's gonna be great. I'm gonna know how to do things. Not the case, my friends, not the case at all, at least for me. But then the second part is, what does it do to my mental state to sort of put myself in a place where the shoulds and the have tos are controlling my destiny? By the way, welcome to Kihei, Maui. I was able to catch a cheap flight from coastal California over to here. It's my last morning, and I was able to greet the sunrise and hopefully see some whales here. So I'm walking along. I hope it's not too loud, but I'm keeping an eye out for little spouts and breaches of humpback whales. They're here right now, and it is so amazing. And that is one of the things that feed me. And this is what I want to talk about. So let's start with shoulds and needs and programs and to-do lists and must-do. It took me decades, and I am still learning about what it does to my mental state to approach myself with, I should do this, I need to do this, I must do this. It's very much sort of putting myself in like an adult-child relationship with myself, and it's not really giving me the option, the choice, the awareness, the wisdom to inquire of myself what it is that I need. Instead, it's me coming in from above and saying like, you need to do this, you need to do this, you need to do this. And yes, it's good for a short-term solution. I have not found it sustainable. I have found that what it does is it aids in like repressing my feelings, my wisdom, not acknowledging what I need to thrive. And so what happens is when I release that at the end of the journey, or when I achieved a goal or a good enough goal, that's why I boomerang, because all of those things have been squashed down like a big giant spring, and then it bounces backwards, and I end up harming myself. And I'm gonna say even that the act of the should do's and the must do's and the have to's are an act of harming yourself, because what it's taking away is your own act of agency in that moment. So let's talk about what you can do instead, or at least what I can do, and hopefully you can have a few options. All right, so let's imagine you're starting a new program, or maybe you're well onto your program. And whether it's weight loss, health, budgeting, whatever, none of these things are ever linear, even though the projections are. You go through these peaks and troughs, and you go through excitement and achievement, and then you're like, oh, things aren't moving as much, or maybe you plateau, or maybe you go backwards a little bit. And so how many of you, I know I do this, if I'm on a plateau or if I am seeing myself go back up, then that's when some part of myself says, I gotta get back to it. And I clamp down the reins even harder than before. And it's like kind of a comfortable, familiar thing to do. But if you stop a moment and get some space and see what does it feel like to hear those words from yourself to yourself. I'm guessing the promise of it feels sort of good, like you can achieve something again. But for me, what I did not even realize is the overall long-standing harm that it was doing for my ability to trust myself. So one thing to try is noticing every time you tell yourself, I should, I need, I must to, and should, need, must, and notice of like, where are you clamping down in yourself and you're driving yourself to achieve a goal. Notice, get a little space from it, see how it feels, and then see if you can reframe that discussion for yourself. Maybe it's, I choose to lean in a little bit more because I liked how I felt when I was making these choices instead of those choices. Or I liked how it felt to be able to go to the gym and lift harder. Or I liked how it felt when I was able to take this pair of jeans out of the closet and zipped it up without any interference. Those sort of steps put you back in the driver's seat, and they feel better, and they also put yourself in a position of trust with yourself. That's part one. 2, things to notice about yourself. When you're in that situation over and over and over again, establishing more a sense of fear of your choices, fear of your future, fear of gaining weight back. These things can turn into a phobia. And I know I talked about fat phobia a little bit before. There's a difference between acknowledgement, concern, and action than fear and phobia. Phobia it can be irrational, it can be starkly unhealthy, it can create panic attacks, it can create stress, it can create unhealthy behaviors, and it is a hard way to treat yourself, and it really can become a long-term chronic condition that needs professional help in order to get you into a healthier space. Like a phobia is by definition very unhealthy and sometimes needs medical professional help in order to deal with it. So for yourself, for your own well-being, notice for yourself where you are in fear versus where are you empowered and where are you trusting yourself. And by the way, look some of this stuff up. I am, like I said, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a medical professional, but your brain gets to feel comfortable and then it repeats those patterns and conditions. So if you are losing weight, or if you are budgeting, or if you are, take anything where you are meeting your goals of something that's very important to you, if you find that you are fearful, you are slowly eroding your sense of own agency and control, and therefore taking away your own empowered ability to drive and be the driver on your own journey. So notice that too, and see if, instead of doubling down, if you can find a way to be kind to yourself. And there are a million ways to do that. Number one, always, 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 get space from it. Notice it, say I see you, and try to breathe. Sit upright, sit like a king or a queen, have some water, and simply watch that thought. Just say I see you. You don't have to make an immediate change, but the first thing is to sort of recognize where your brain is functioning because that's the first step to being able to take some different choices. Here's the last bit just for today. And this is specifically about food, but it could be about budget, it could be about anything else. Because you know I'm like into money and health at the moment. I found that for myself, when I was depleted, I would create a hunger that got me absolutely ravenous. And there were times that I did not recognize that the thing that would feed and nourish me was not actual physical food. Sometimes it absolutely was, especially if I was on a program that left me depleted, that left me calorie charged in a negative way. But finding those spaces and that learning, whether it's journal, whether it's talking to people, if you have been going and doing so much for other people and showing up at your job at 150%, the thing you might need is a nap. Or the thing that you might need is a talk with a friend, or a bubble bath, or a meditation, or a read, or something. But to learn how to take that hunger and translate it into what is going to be the thing that nourishes me, I think is really the crux of the journey from going, I can follow these steps and watch a number go down on a scale and make my metabolism take a hit and make my mental state more fearful, versus the growing ability of checking in with myself, going, what kind of hunger do I have right now? So that's what I'm going to keep on looking at. I'm sharing it here not because I've perfected it, but because after 55 stinking years, I'm finally getting it in a way that I haven't before. So I invite you to do the same. Be kind to yourself. Take space from yourself when you see that you are knocking yourself down, and let me know how you're doing. So with all that, the thing that's gonna feed me right now is to get off this phone and go into the water and see if I can hear the beautiful sound and song of humpback whales. I hope you find what feeds yourself this week. Please let me know either in comments or an email if there's a certain aspect of anything that I'm talking about that you want to hear more about. Like, I really only know about my journey, but I'm super happy to keep on sharing quotes from books I'm reading, things that I found inspirational, and definitely want to know what's helping you in whatever moment you have. So here's to kindness, more agency, more choice, and healthy decisions. Have a good week, guys. Bye for now.